5th or 6th grade German that I left with and try and figure out, you know, these big university words. But make I and I tell you something. Remember, you know, maths is my favorite subject. While we going on the first exam, buck up on something what we never seen in our life before. That professor literally had like a passing rate of like probably, if me put it high, it did 30%. But we even try get some past papers with some past questions and nothing help. Well, we feel same way. So 6th semester, by then I actually wanted to be done because that would have been my final semester. I did everything else right, and I did very well on that bachelor thesis. So the only thing I had left to get was the maths.
And imagine now, if she would not get the math, her entire bachelor would be... So when Melody told me about that professor, I got extremely upset. I was actually thinking, what can I do? I can go to the Ministry of Education in Germany or do something. So that professor, I think, is an extremely hard-hearted woman. And I don't know how many people's lives she actually messed up with that.
Dreaming what just happened. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas.
Hey my lovelies, it's your girl Mel and we are here with mommy. So now I already know, say it's another story time with mommy. Story time with mommy. But today is also a very special video because today is Vlogmas day 1, guys. So for the people who might you know, buck up on this Vlogmas video and don't know us as yet, my name is Melody. This is my mom, Sabina, and I also have a sister that frequents on this channel, but we are basically a German Jamaican family based in Jamaica. And every Thursday we post story time based on the experiences my mother has in Jamaica since she has been living in Jamaica for over 40 years as a full German lady. So that is basically the concept of our little story times that we have every Thursday. So if you're new here, welcome, and please do subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it if you could check out our older videos as well.
Well, I was just saying, if you're new here, you better watch everything before because it's a long story and some interesting things are happening throughout those stories, I can assure you.
And besides story time, we also have a bunch of other content. So if this is not for you, then just please take a look at the channel because we do a lot of like river trips, swimming, adventure, beach cooking, all sort of stuff. family stuff, random vlogs, just a day in our life and stuff like that. So please do check it out. But anyways, we're going to get back into the story time.
And today it's one of the story times where I am not the main person and I'm not the storyteller, because we are in 2019, and 2019 was the year where Melody's studies were accomplished, more or less. So she is going to tell her story about those studies and what else she did do in that time, and I might chip in the end a bit.
But before we start off with the year 2019, we're going to have to rewind. So rewind, right guys? So I basically left Jamaica in 2014, literally just so I could study at a university in Germany, because your girl couldn't afford to study in Jamaica because you have to pay for everything. So in Germany, especially for German citizens to study, it's free. So that was my best option at the moment. So yeah, I was what? How old was I in 2014?
20.
20. Well, no, not 20.
Well, 19 because your birthday's at the end.
I was 19 years old and I packed up my little belongings that I had and moved to Germany all by myself. Luckily, mom already had an apartment there, so it was not hard for me to find an apartment or anything like that. I had somewhere to stay, so I was, you know, it's not like I just jumped over there and had no clue where to go. I had somewhere to stay, so that was a good start.
And your brother was over there.
And my brother was over there as well. But they were living somewhere different than I was. So, yeah. I was planning on starting my university journey in 2014, but sadly that was not possible because your girl had to translate all her Jamaican
school records,
my grades and stuff into the German school system because it's completely different. So that took them
a year,
one entire year. I almost, because you always start university in October, I almost wasn't even able to start in the following year because them did take them sweet ass time. And I'm like, people, I was calling like constantly, say, hey, I'm still here waiting on the translation.
Yeah,
like what's
nerve-wracking.
It's literally just like a few pages that they had to translate. It's not like it's a booklet of things. It's like probably 3 or 4 pages. So I finally got it, and they recognized my whatever I completed. They recognized it as being able to study in anything that has to do with the medical field or sciences or anything like that.
Which is actually good because the medical field in Germany is pretty much filled. I mean, they have a very high, what they call numerous clauses, which means you need an average on your record that is, for medicine, I think it's a 1. And 1 is the best you can get. And basically, if you don't have that, then they will make you wait, because each year that you wait, I think you get 3 points down. So basically, Melody,
well, I would have still had to wait too.
Yeah, if you wanted to do medicine.
Yeah, if I wanted to do
medicine. But her choices were
medicine.
somewhat different, so she did not have to wait because she got a 1.7, which is very good as well. But let her tell you what she decided to do.
So I always loved biology and IT and stuff like that. So those were like maths, biology, and IT were like my favorite subject in school. So I knew that I wanted to go into something that was like with science. So I was looking on their website for the university of my city, and they had this one that really spoke to me, that was computer science and genetic research. So basically, you know, like all of those programming geeks and nerds that you always see like in movies coding all these stuff, yeah, that kind of stuff, but incorporated with a lot of medical and biology based stuff.
You should have worn your glasses today.
I don't wear glasses. so you know, that was kind of like I was getting like best of both worlds basically in my eyes. So I started that course. I got accepted without any problems, and you know, I came back fresh to the city. I didn't know that many people. I mean, I knew some people from when I was living in Germany when I was younger, but that was not few years. That's a whole
2008. We lived there until 2008.
Yeah, 2008 to 2014.
15,
that
16,
is
yeah, 7 years.
7 years. That's a long ass time to not have contact to anyone and just popping up back and trying to figure out your way. But yeah, so I went to the university for the first day and went into the classes and stuff, and bare stressed trying to figure out how to set up all the modules and when you have this and when you have that, and trying to find the rooms and all of them stuff there. Like, I think the first time I went to a completely wrong building and all of this in there, but that is just what comes with it. I mean, I'm new there, so I didn't have a clue about anything. But one thing I realized pretty quickly was my course especially didn't have any other mixed or darker person. So I was basically the only, you know, person of color that was in my whole entire course semester. in my study year. So I was the only person of color. So, you know, normally if you are a person of color, it's very easy to spot another one, and then naturally you are intrigued to find out about that person and then on a click immediately, or sometime not, but at least there is some form of attempt in, you know, trying to seek that person. So I was just there for the first few days. I didn't really have any friends or contact to anyone, because the only thing would be like, oh, do you know where this class is? And then they would say, oh, I'm looking for it too, and then maybe we would head out together or something. But otherwise from that, it was like nada. So yeah, I just began figuring out everything that I was doing and got into it quite quickly. On top of everything else, what I have to keep in mind is studying at a German university. Everything that they were teaching us was in German. So remind you, for the last 7 years I was just learning everything in English and stuff like that, and then I had to basically revert back to my 5th grade German that I left with 5th or 6th grade German that I left with, and try and figure out, you know, these big university words when I started. So that was kind of a little bit of a hard task, but I could speak fluently, so I didn't have any problem. My problem was always just writing, and you know, from you go to school, you have to write. So I had to figure it out pretty quickly, but it was you know, it wasn't bad. It was challenging, but it wasn't too bad. But besides that, pretty much I just did all the courses. So as I said, some of them were like programming stuff, some of them were just like regular biology based classes, like how we had it in school, and learning about the cells and all of them stuff there. And then, like, as of like the 3rd semester, we had to do actual stuff in the labs. So we had to go into the lab. So your girl get to put on her little white coat and feel like, yeah, she's like one of those lab peoples in the movies. And then we had to basically do like experiments and stuff, and then write you know, a essay on whatever we were doing and stuff like that. And if we didn't get to do that or didn't pass it, basically we couldn't continue on to the next semester and stuff
trust
like
me,
that.
I would go over as usual for the Christmas market, so I would be there by the end of the year. And the amount of homework they got at that university, I mean, it was worse than school. It was like when I looked at her and she came home and I said, oh, I have to do this now and I have to do that now. And I mean, and nothing simple and nothing that would be done in a 10 minutes or so. Right?
Well, it's university.
No, but I mean, I did not remember university. Remember, I went to university too. So at my time, there was nothing like that. So I was amazed about the amount of homework she had to do. And it's not like school homework. They called it Hausarbeit, right?
Yeah, well,
it is homework, but it is like much more challenging. You know, it was almost like 3 times a week she would have to write an essay about some really about some subjects that were really deep, you know. And sometimes she came and read to me and said, what do you think about it? And I said, what the heck, you were just reading to me there. I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, to a degree still, but not to the fullness. And I was so amazed. I mean, they had a lot of work to do.
So yeah, it was basically, to me, that is just the university experience. I didn't know it any different, so to me it was just normal. That is how it was. So yeah, there's just like at every university you have to pass a certain amount of subjects, as in get certain amount of points to continue on to the next semester and stuff. So I had to make sure that I was doing all of those stuff and passing everything and stuff like that. So as I said, we did like programming stuff. One at a time then we had to program an actual app where it was like a quiz game app. So you would go on the app, you can select the amount of players you want to play with, and then you would get like questions and then the options underneath, and we had to program all of that. Luckily we were like in groups of 5, I think, so everybody, you know, take on a task and did their segment and stuff like that. But boy, that the game there nearly made me fling my whole studies. That was the moment when I realized, all right, I don't like programming and coding that much. That was like the moment where I'm like, this is really not me. This is not me. But I had to do it nonetheless, and luckily I had people in my group as well that understood quite well what they were doing and could help out and whatsoever. So I did pass that that module, and on top of everything, you know, maths is a big thing in university. So I had like 4 different maths courses throughout 4 semesters. So, you know, maths 1 for the first semester, maths 2, maths 3, and maths 4. I fly through maths 1, fly through maths 2, fly through maths 3.
I'm spoiled.
And the funny thing as well was, what I was very surprised about was the stuff that we were actually doing in, I think, maths 2 and 3 were stuff that I already learned at my 6th form, so my A and O levels, and they were like learning it for the first time.
Wow.
So when me did buck up in a certain like tasks and questions and stuff, and when we were learning it in class, I'm like, I did this already. And remember, I actually asked mom, because she was coming up for a Christmas market, so I asked my mom, could you find my math stuff from here in Jamaica and bring it up for me? Because I had those stuff like down in my stuff already, in my books already. So basically I would have rather revised my English stuff than to learn, because the way how them did I explain it was like so confusing, till I finally realized, but wait, I did this already. But to the way how they were teaching it to me, I did not understand at all.
So that was lucky then.
That was luckily to me. I you know, had an advantage in those cases. But make I tell you something. Remember, you know, maths is my favorite subject. When I got to maths 4, there was this professor lady, and she's the head of the maths faculty. Yay me. Anyways, it was statistics and something. I don't remember the other one, but that was basically the course, the topics for maths 4. So going through it, you know, doing all the, oh, mind you, every week we had to go to like an extra we got homework every single week, and then we had to revise that homework at a different time with a substitute teacher or whatever. Well, they call them tutor. So they call them tutors. They were students actually. They weren't teachers. Those were actually students, and we had to like hand in our homework to them every week, and then they would go over them and hand it to us back, and then we would go through it all together and stuff. You were only allowed to miss that tutor class twice for the entire semester. If you go over 2 times, you're not allowed to sit the exam. So a semester is for 6 months, I think, or 5 months, close to 5-6 months with the exams and everything. 2 times alone, you are allowed to not attend that class. And university, normally you can pick and choose if you want to go to the class or not. If you
exactly, they leave it up
like,
to you.
It's
basically.
up to you, but
yeah.
that specifically you were not allowed to miss out on. The lecture classes, that was, you couldn't stay at your yard every single day, them no business. But that tutor class, if you miss twice, you drop out of the more than twice, you drop out of the exam completely. You're not even allowed to attend it or anything. So, you know, we had to force ourselves to go to those classes every single time. When the exam time came, it's a written exam and you get 2 chances per semester. While we going at the first exam, buck up and something what we never seen in our life before. And like that professor literally had like a passing rate of like probably, if me put it high, it did 30%. That is high. But in general, it was like always under the 20% mark. Passing.
Not
rate.
failing, you know.
Not failing. Passing rate. So, you know, first exam I fail. I say shit. Second exam, I also failed. I'm like, damn. Alright, no problem. That's the 4th semester. I have another chance in the 6th semester because it's a winter course, so that's, you can only do it in the winter. So my study semesters in total would have been 3 years, so 6 semesters. So I did it in the 4th semester and would have had another chance in the 6th semester. So
another
fast forward
chance basically too.
Fast forward to you could try as many times.
Oh, I thought it was
no
limited.
You could try as many times as you would want. So fast forward to the 6th semester. Mind you, know me good par maths, me love my maths, all of that stuff there. 6th semester, exam time again. First exam, fail. Second exam, me study, me practice, me watch YouTube video from morning till night, me meet up with friends, study groups, everybody I try this, that. We even try get some past papers with some past questions and not help. Well, we feel same way. So 6th semester, by then I actually wanted to be done because that would have been my final semester. I did everything else right,
and with good grades.
I passed everything else with good grades, without ease, everything. I did my bachelor thesis in the 6th semester and was good. And my bachelor thesis was actually in the lab. Your girl did enjoy the lab type stuff, so it was in the lab, and I wrote my thesis in English, of course. Luckily we had the option to choose if we want to write it in German or English. Of course me I jumped to the English side because that's way easier than the German. And I did very well on that bachelor thesis. So the only thing I had left to get was the maths.
And imagine now, if she would not get the math, her entire bachelor would be...
Yeah, if I don't pass the maths, then I basically don't have a bachelor degree.
Yeah.
So, girl are fret, girl have our last, you know, chance within the 6th semester time frame to pass the maths, and your girl fails again.
And now you have to imagine too, I mean, Melody has always been extremely studious, right? And when she learned and she did, she would succeed. She was used to succeeding. Not without labor, not without work, mind you. I mean, it's not like she just slipped through. She did a lot, put in a lot of work at all times, but then at least she would succeed. Now with this one math thing, and I mean the effort she put into that, I can vouch to that, was enormous. And then failing and failing and failing again. And mind you, again, that professor had a failing rate now of over 80%. So, very simple, if 100 students were sitting that test, 80 would go home and fail it. Right? So that alone makes you nervous already. If you know that our professor is that harsh and that hard, that you basically only have a 20% chance or less to succeed. You know? So she was under enormous pressure as well, every time.
And the funny part was that in those tutor classes, because they mix it up, you would literally see people from the ones that you saw from the year before. You see people sit down in that same class there for around 4 years now. Like literally, yeah. They started pre-studying their master courses, because they can do that, because you basically can write in yourself to anything, but then they would get it, you know, recognized once they officially start their master. But they were pre-studying master classes because they were stuck on that one math class. So they were basically in their probably 10th semester, but still stuck on a 4th semester module. But yeah, so 6th semester and your girl fails again, and that was like really a down moment for me, because I was like, I could have literally been done right now, like done completely with my studies, and here I am still sitting around and needing that one maths. So, you know, I still had to, I thought at that point actually that I could just sit out the summer semester and then jump back in for the winter semester, because we paid per semester, right?
Yeah. There
was like this administration fee that you would pay per semester. So I didn't pay for the summer semester and then went back to pay for the winter semester now. And then the lady's like, no, you have to be written in continuously. You're not allowed to take a break unless it's like a
you ask for
leave
before,
that
yeah,
you ask for
leave.
them, and official leave from them and stuff like that. So girl never know that. Me think I couldn't just drop out and come back here when I feel like, which makes sense. But so I actually, luckily, they made it possible for me to pay
this previous semester,
the previous semester and then the winter semester in one. So they actually did write me up as being, you know, there for the summer semester and stuff. So luckily that was possible, because when we hear that too, I was like, shit, me just literally throw down my 3 years them down the drain just like that. but luckily it was possible. And yeah, your girl writing herself again for the maths module. And let I tell you this, you see the last year, yeah, on don't see how I struggle already before. Y'all see how I was struggling. Guess what she does for the last year that I was attending? Guess what she does? So mind you, this is my 8th semester now. This lady puts a foreign teacher as our professor to teach us the maths. The man come from Italy, Spain, me no know, one of them. Can't speak proper German. But he is doing that course so he can get his official teaching certificate for Germany. So it is basically something that he has to do to get, you know, official, and we have to put up with it because well, we don't have no choice, right? So imagine a non-German speaking teacher teaching you maths.
That must have been rough.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice and enjoyable. I tell you, we would be sitting in the class and in my talk from morning till night. We not understand. Luckily, the script of what he was teaching us was the same as the previous year, so it didn't change or anything. So luckily, I had like notes from the previous 2 years and stuff. Because let me tell you, if that was my first ever maths class and me did have that the professor there, it would have been the absolute worst. And his English wasn't the best either. So even when we were trying to get an explanation out of him for something, it was super hard. At that point, most of the students that were doing the maths for the first time, they actually could rely on the tutors, so the other students that already passed it already and took on this tutor job as credits, I think. Luckily, you know, since them pass and understand, they could actually teach us. So basically the tutor class became the official learning classes for us than the lectures. Cause lecture you never learn. I stopped going at a point. I literally just stopped going and just went to the tutor classes and did it that way. So in the 8th semester exam time I come now, and there is this option that if you keep on failing the written one for I think if you fail it at least 3 times or something, they give you an option where you can do an oral exam, especially if that is the last thing you need to do to complete your studies. So me, I think about oral exam now. I may say maths in an oral, how is that going to work? Like, I was scared shitless of doing maths in an oral exam. I'm like, what am I gonna ask me say? And all of them stuff.
What do I have to do?
What will I have to do? All of them stuff there. Like, I was just scared, but I'm like, hey, clearly the written exam is not working for me, so I'm going to have to try and do this oral exam. And if I don't pass the oral exam, I'll do back a written exam for the 2nd try of the 8th semester. So oral exam time comes.
Well done, my turn.
Oh yeah, wait.
She gave me the date.
Wait. So I was at that point, so many stuff were happening. Professor can't chat German, failing this class how many times, all of that. I was literally stressed out, fuming at this professor. Like, I literally, when I saw this woman, when you say you hate somebody like poison, that was, I don't normally hate people, but when I saw this lady at any point in time, I got so angry because she actually prided herself. Because when we sit on exam, we are allowed to look at what we did and the mistakes that we made and stuff like that. She prided herself in saying that her exam is actually the best type of exam out there, and all the other 3 maths courses, modules that I did before, so maths 1, maths 2, and maths 3, those professors are way too easy. So basically she has said, oh, them not do them job properly, and like she literally turned to me and said them type of stuff there, you know. So when I was saying that to mommy, I'm like, mommy, I cannot stand this woman. This woman clearly know how if it pass. I don't know what to do anymore.
And the problem was as well, I mean, as she was the head of the department,
yeah,
there was
nobody could
you
do anything
and tell that story, because what she literally did, not only even to Melody but to all of her students, she messed up their lives in to a degree. Because imagine now somebody would not be able ever to pass her module. That meant, like, what would have been the case for Melody as well, that all their studies, including their thesis, were invalid because they would not get their bachelor degree. And I think this way of using your power as a prof, I mean, nobody says she has to do it, make it easy or so. It should be, but it should be
it should be
reasonable. It should be
yeah.
reasonable. Yes, the students need a challenge. They need to learn. They need to study. Yes, but do not make it almost impossible to pass. So that professor, I think, is an extremely hard-hearted woman. And I don't know how many people's lives she actually messed up with that. So when Melody told me about that professor, I got extremely upset. I was actually thinking, what can I do? Can I go to the Ministry of Education in Germany or do something? And then I said, ciao, I mean, we can't really do anything.
Mommy wanted to, wait, mommy also wanted to write the lady an email. She was like, give me your email address. And then I'm like, no, mommy, suppose you might give me a failing grade right away, because she's going to know that you're connected to me.
Yeah,
and suppose she just, alright, so if despite I say, yo, Melody just
so
fails.
The lioness came out in me, you know.
So I was like, mommy, don't do anything at all.
I have to defend my cub. Yeah, but well, I didn't do it. I probably would have changed my mind anyhow, because of course she it wouldn't have any good effect. I might have done it after. So. Anyhow, my side now, I was like saying, what could I do? What could I do? Now, Naomi, if you remember, my good friend that died recently, my little lady with the long dreadlocks, I talked to her about this situation, and she looked at me and said, okay, I mean, it cannot hurt. So please try. So she told me, that's why I had to ask Melody for the full name of the lady. What I should do is kind of try to visualize that lady. I think I asked her even for a photo, right? Yeah, she sent me a picture. She gave me the full name, and what I should do is say for the divine, the name of the person, for the divine that is in you, I praise you, I praise you, I praise you again. And basically visualize what that person would be praised for too, right? And you normally have to do that 3 times in a row. Boy, did I do that. I mean, I heard about it, date about, I don't know how many weeks before. I think every day. Sometime in the middle of the night, I would wake and do that 3 times, because I said, lady, you better make my daughter pass, you know. And but not that bad, because I mean I was counting on her, the divine in her. So whatever did happen, I kind of take a little credit for it.
And she didn't tell me about that until afterwards. So
I didn't tell her because I thought she's going to declare me mad or something.
Anyways, so oral exam time come, and the oral exam is just for about, I think, half an hour or 20 minutes or something. I don't know. It wasn't like a super.
20 minutes in your life.
It's not that long. But I hate, you know, presentations, like standing in front of classes and having to speak and stuff like that. Like, you know, anything that's like up close like that, like you literally can't see at the moment what I'm doing and what I'm working out and all of them stuff there, are me having to explain something to you. Like, that's so nerve-wracking. When I went and was sitting in front of the door, because she had her oral exam in front of her office, so I was just there waiting, and like those few minutes waiting on her to call you in is like the absolute worst, because you just try to think about everything and say, what am I gonna ask you? Say, is there something else I can look up quick again to make sure that I have it done? I was sitting in the library of the university from morning till night. I went there like probably 10 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't leave before 6-7 o'clock. Every single day going through maths. Every single day. And I did that for like probably at least a month, if not a little bit longer. Because remember, I don't have any other classes enough, so I completely was focusing on the maths. Anyways, I went in there nervous as hell, shaking and everything. She was sitting there with another teacher, because they have to have somebody there viewing it and making sure that, you know, the professor is being fair in the questions that they're asking and stuff like that. So she turned around one little paper to me, put on a pen, and said, all right, are we ready to start? I'm like, yes. So she started asking me question. I think it was like probably 5 or 6 questions. And the good thing was, when I was studying all the stuff, like, I was making sure that I have it down pack. I have the theory. If somebody asks me, yo, why you do it that way, then I can explain to you, say, that is why I'm doing it. That is why I'm putting a plus sign there, or whatever. So when she started asking the questions, she was just doing like general based stuff. She was like asking me theory questions, really. So she was just like, all right, you know, in statistics you have this and that process or this and that calculation. What exactly is it for, or why do people do it, or like theory based questions. So it wasn't any calculation or anything like that, but just purely theory. So she would just give me like a topic and say, all right, tell me what you know about this and that. So me, I go in at the back of my brain and bring out everything I know about that one thing. If it extra, me just make sure I say me I jot down one whole heap of stuff, and while I'm doing that I have to write it down and explain it to her and stuff like that. So there were certain, I think there was like one question where I didn't fully get the grasp of it as yet, and she realized that, and then she was trying to say, okay, but say for example you would have this and that, and then try and see if I did actually understand it or not. But yeah, after the oral exam was finished, they would send you out for a few minutes and say, all right, they would call you in back, and I sit down with them and say, Jesus Christ, did I pass? Did I pass? Did I pass? Tears nearly come on my eye to the wheel. Me afraid come here say I did explain like majority of the stuff correctly, I think, because they don't really give you any insight neither. They don't say, yeah, that's correct, or no, then just say, all right, let's move on to the next question. So I'm like, oop, did I do it wrong? But they called me back in, and then she's like, all right, you passed. And I'm like, okay. And then she's like, you got this and that grade, because they grade it same time and stuff. And then she said, okay, this one question you kind of didn't fully explain it the right way, but that's fine because you did well on all the other ones and stuff. And I'm just there smiling my face off. Like, at that point I wasn't even listening anymore. All me having in my head is say, all right, I have my bachelor's degree now. Like, I got it in the bag now, nobody can stop me. So hear this lady now, right? So she's like, oh, so congratulations and all, but what do you have planned for your master's? So I'm like, I'm not sure yet what exactly I'm going to study, but I'm trying to think about something close in the same field. So she's like, where are you planning? Because the same course that I was taking in Bachelors, they also offered it in Masters, in a higher, you know, degree of everything that we were doing. And she's like, do you plan on doing this one in Masters? So I'm like, no. me tell her no why. Me did don't know, so she is the head of the master thing, and she has her hand in like 3 or 4 modules, and I'm like, me not bucking up this woman again. And she recognized that too. She was like, oh well, since you had problems with this one, maybe it would be best you don't do the masters in this course either, because I'm going to be the professor for some of the courses and I'm the head of. I'm like, you know, worry yourself, you're not seeing me back. In my head, of course, I didn't say it out loud, but I'm like, you're not seeing me back. Like, no worries, I won't come back to anything that has anything at all to do with you.
You told her that?
No.
Oh,
I'm like, in my head, me can't do that before she
exactly.
Before she said what, I said, alright,
so
fail.
what did you say though?
No, I was just like, no, I didn't plan on doing that. I think I want to go into a different
but
field.
the real head.
But the real head conversation, she's still an evil person.
Yeah.
Very evil.
I mean, basically even discouraging you from going on with those
yeah,
studies.
like who does that?
Who
But
is she? Basically, yeah, well, she knows who she is, I guess.
And the funny thing is, one of my classmates continued on to do that course in Masters, and she said when she started she only had 3 other classmates. So in total is 4 people alone
that dared to continue
to do that master.
Wow.
So she didn't have many people anyways.
So did she pass though? Do we have any information if she
I don't know.
made it?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to her
Wow.
in a while.
4 people?
But
Please.
me say
It's
thank
a big university, you know.
God, me pass it, me come out, me call mommy and tell mommy about it. Mommy dey on the phone and scream and sing and say yay, and then she tell me about it or whatsoever. And then the graduation was, you know, so she had to send in the note to the administration, whatever they call it, to show them, hey, I passed it, so I can officially get my bachelor's degree now. So I'm like, could you just do that as quick as possible? And she's like, yeah, no problem. And then she sent it in, I think, the same day. And then I got her email saying, congratulations, you got your bachelor's degree and whatsoever. And then I had to, they sent us a little letter thing saying graduation is on that and that day,
November, I think.
but
or was it
before I actually go into that, because of me having spare time from the 6th semester to the 8th semester, I couldn't just sit around and not do anything. So I actually went and got a job. So your girl became
dental or
orthodontist, receptionist and assistant, because we were doing all the reception work and we were actually helping them putting on braces and handing them the wire and all of them stuff there. So I did that for almost that entire year, basically, until I completed my math exam. So your girl was up in a orthodontist office doing the do learning how to put on braces and what this means and that means and stuff. And the funny thing is, like, 2 other of my classmates were doing it as well. So that's how I even got into it, because they were saying, oh, they're looking for people, and some of them were in the same situation as me, because they were all extending their studies for another year just because of the maths class there as well. So we were basically all in the same boat and, you know, working together, so that was quite fun. I learned a lot with that as well. And yes, with that I could, you know, wasn't just hanging around at home and not doing anything. I was actually doing something with my time, and I needed money anyways, so I did have to work and stuff like that. So it comes down to mommy being in Germany for the Christmas market. Again. And November comes around, and it was actually, was it November?
Beginning
or
of
beginning
December.
of December.
I think it was beginning of beginning
I had to take
a
December.
day off from my stall. I was working.
Yeah,
already.
beginning of December, and your girl has her graduation.
And at least I was lucky enough to be there for her, because otherwise she would have been all
I would have been, yeah, I would have been
so
all
I was
by
really,
myself.
really happy that would work out. And it was a nice graduation.
Because my brother would have been at work as well and stuff.
Yeah, so.
Because it was a weekday.
Good timing.
Yeah, your girl collected her little paper. It's not a big graduation like how you see it in the States or Jamaica, where they put on gown and stuff like that. They don't have that at all.
It was
but
nice.
They still do that little ceremony, calling up your name. You know, you go to the front, collect it from the dean or whatever it was. I don't even remember who was there. And yeah, your girl got her little thing. Then they had a little celebration afterwards with was there
band was playing.
Band was playing.
You could get some drinks.
Get some drinks, food, stuff like that. So your girl made it out alive with a bachelor's degree.
And actually, your bachelor degree grade is not bad neither.
It was a 1.5.
Exactly. So that is a very good result.
So, the best you can get is a 1, and I got a 1.5. So that was with that was with my bachelor thesis and everything. So yeah, your girl got her bachelor's degree, and then I actually did write up myself for a master, but the year 2020 came, and that will be the next
story.
I know.
I know, you know.
That will be another story time, because I don't know what happened in 2020. Like, everybody,
kind of.
well, yeah, but everybody was facing the same dilemma.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's story time. Thank you so much for watching. I know your girl went through hell back and forth with this maths thing, but
she well earned her degree.
We made it happen after all. But sadly, I don't really like maths anymore now. But so you go, I guess that just
was
goes
always
with it.
my saying, you know, if you get the wrong teacher, even as a young student, and you get a wrong teacher, that can spoil that subject for you for the rest of your life. And that is a real sad thing, because it shows how much responsibility teachers actually have to keep the joy, because children, for example, they love to learn. So to keep up the joy of learning for their students. So I think every teacher who is able to keep the joy for learning in their students, I respect them highly and truly, because it's a very important profession, going way up to university level. And I can only commend any teacher who is doing that. And thank you to all of those teachers.
Yes. But that is it for today, guys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.